Excellent. What's your favorite color? Yeah.
I mean, was it cool seeing your
guys only have 1 minute, thank you.
Like, okay, I kind of sort of hate mutants, and now he has to kind of basically accept the fact, okay, I have mutant kids, and I have to actually kind of, I basically have to know.
Yeah, I mean, because I think that not that I would draw any lines about the kind of politics that he might have had by being a prosecutor of mutants, but he has had to kind of go on this about turn and sort of think about inclusivity in a way that he possibly hadn't before. And then midway through the season, he then finds out that he was stopped from his own destiny by his father, by this genetic engineering, and that's also kind of made him sort of have to question everything that he was, or he might have been, what he could possibly have done with his life, whether it be destructive or positive. So there's been a lot of sort of emotional turmoil for him, and we will see him questioning that.
Speaking of emotion, what's the dynamic for the family like in that emotion as we start season 2?
Do you want to do this? We've been separated from Andy. Andy's has chosen this path. We're sort of fighting with the idea that perhaps he was made to do it, that he was forced to do it. And some of us might think that he wasn't, and that it was a chosen path, and other family members might think otherwise. And so that the conflict is between who we now are as a family, what we represent as a family, but he is only 15. So there is a kind of, we have to go on the run and look for him. Obviously Polaris is on the run as well, so the Mutant Underground are searching and using their powers to try and find where they are, and we've sort of centered it down to one city, which is where we're trying to sort of work out what their next big plans are.
Now, on a follow-up to that, do you think that Andy choosing a different side in any way will damage your bond as a brother and sister? Do you think it's not repairable? It'll always be different?
When you go back to last season, you figure out that we are descendants of the Von Strucker twins, which is something that last year at Comic-Con was literally like in my notes, do not say. So now you guys know. I mean, if you read the comics, you know that the Von Struckers are very bad people, and they have this darkness that they were born with. And I think that that's something that both of us have inside of us, and I think that Andy wants to embrace it. I think that Lauren wants to go down a different path, but I think that what's cool about this season is that you look at the different groups. Last season you had like this feeling towards the Hellfire group that they were just bad, but that's not necessarily true. We just all have different views. But I also think that families have a very big bond, and I think that she's always going to love her brother, not necessarily agree with him, and who knows, maybe slowly start to agree with him this season when she starts unlocking her darkness. Try not to say this. I know. No, they send us like our little like cue cards that say, "Do not mention the war." Yeah. I'm not supposed to tell you that he died. Oh. Yeah. Exactly.
That was a Fawlty Towers reference. Anybody else?
So what are you guys looking forward to most this season?
I think one of the things that they're doing that is really interesting is that they're telling story in a, like if it was us around here and we had to like tell everybody's story in an hour, something that a lot of dramas try to do is to tell to try and give every single person 3 or 4 minutes per episode. And I think what we're doing this year, which I really like, is focusing in on one story and there'll be satellites coming around that storyline, but it might be your story that then filters into your story because you go over there. And so feeling like we don't have to tell all the stories all the time, which a lot of shows, I've been in a couple, get to the point where we have so many people to honor that, so that might mean that we get to focus in on story, then lift up and go back over here and be objective, and I personally as a viewer find it less frenetic. So I'm really excited about that.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you guys.
Thank you.